welcome to About Face Theatre presents 5 Questions With, and today our guest is Stella Feehily. Stella is a playwright and actor. Her plays include Duck, Oh Go My Man, and This May Hurt a Bit. And her work has been produced at the Royal Court, Soho Theatre and the Young Vic, and has won her the Susan Smith Blackburn Award. Stella, you're very welcome.
Hi, thank you. Thank you. Lovely to see you guys.
So good to see you too.
Hey.
Yay. So we'll just jump in and start off with if there's a play or experience that kind of set you off into theatre, who brought you into theatre?
Who brought me into theatre? Well, I have to say that there's a short answer, which is a guy, and the longer answer, the idea of theatre, the idea of theatre being a viable option was like just not in our world. But we had a really good English teacher who gave me a love for Shakespeare, and I absolutely loved Macbeth. And I saw an RSC production of Macbeth with Jane Lapotaire as Lady Macbeth, and it was absolutely. Do you know that production? It's absolutely astonishing. You know, at 15 or 16, whatever I was, it had never occurred to me the kind of the powerful sexual characterization could be, played as Lady Macbeth. So it just got me started thinking about plays. The guy part of it is that I continued to read plays, and I did all sorts of things after school. But this guy that I was absolutely mad about, he was one of the actors. He was not mad about me, in fairness, but we used to talk about plays, and he was like, "Oh my God, you should think about going to drama school." And the relationship didn't go any further, but I went to drama school, and so that was the best thing that ever happened to me. Met my best friends, just absolutely loved it. I went to the Gaelic School of Acting in Dublin, and so that kind of set me on that was like my theatre path.
Nice.
Fantastic. And so Stella, obviously Scottish play had an influence on you, but what's a great play that you love and why?
A great play. Well, there are plays that you see in the theatre and you're absolutely knocked out by. You're not really considering, is this a great play? So there are plays that, like Macbeth is a great play. I think for me, technically, politically and emotionally, Top Girls by Carol Churchill.
Oh yeah.
It's just a sublime play, just what an indictment of Thatcher's era. And I mean, it's still very pertinent today.
Oh yeah.
But look, a recent great play that I saw is Sweat by Lynn Nottage.
Oh, yeah.
Back then, then you kind of go like, I think I've seen the great play. And then you go, and it just in such admiration I for this writer, because obviously she spent a number of years interviewing people in, I think it's Reading, Pennsylvania, because it's a play about industrial decline in the Rust Belt, and just how she made such a political play so personal and very, very prescient for our times. Anyway, you've got to read it if you haven't read it. Sweat by Lynn Nottage. So that for me is a great play. But I saw, in 2002 or something like that, I saw Wilson Milam's production of Alive the Mind at the Donmar Warehouse, and it had Peter MacDonald, Catherine McCormack, Andy Serkis, Niamh Cusack, and I was like, I couldn't believe it. I was absolutely, completely bowled over, and thought it was like the greatest thing I'd ever seen. And I mean, it has kind of some, troubling tropes about love as violence and that kind of thing. But at the time, I was completely swept up in the actual performance. So yeah, it's a funny one. What is a great play? But I'd say after, it's all saying all that for me, Top Girls by Carol Churchill, because it's an intellectual challenge, but it's a troubling play, and it's still pertinent today, so it stands the test of time. And I was at a production of it in the last couple of years, and people walked out after the first section, which is that amazing scene with the women from history, and I thought, that's a good play. You know, you've got the corduroyed characters in Chichester going, some bloody women shouting at each other. Yeah, Carol, go on, girl. So yeah.
Yeah, that's great
And
too.
love
All the
story.
overlap.
Shop girls.
Top girls.
Top girls,
Excellent. I
yeah.
love it. And in your, you know, in your theater life, have you ever had an experience where things just did not go in the end how you expected? Like there's something surprised you, or there was, you know, yeah.
It's always like that.
Just...
It's always like that. Well, there was, I mean, there's so much humiliation in a theatrical life, and I would say that the thing that you've got to learn is like have your own sense of the work, because you know when your play opens on the same day you can get a 2-star and a 4-star review, and it's just like what, does one cancel the other out? So you've got to, it's quite hard, you know, you've got to know what you're putting out there and kind of really get behind it. But so that's kind of taken me a long time. Otherwise, it really will set you so deeply. Reviews, and you kind of forget that you've had a good review, and you go, oh, I hate it, it's terrible, I'm shit. But so the thing that happened that made me think that it's quite a long time ago. It was the first performance of my play I had done, and I was sitting, rather than the first night, and I was sitting beside oh god, he's a West End producer, David Johnson. He died recently, sadly, but I didn't really know him, and he sat beside me at my first performance, and he absolutely laughed himself. He pissed himself laughing. And he slapped my leg at the end, and he's like, "You're the playwright," and he was like, "This play's going to be a hit." It wasn't. But for the like the 3 or 4 days before the play went out, you know, I kind of, before that, I kind of had a sense of, you know, what it was. It was quite niche. It was this, that, and the other. But, you know, it had never occurred to me that this play was going to be a hit. But I allowed myself to think, you know, stupidly. And I was kind of more, because he was a West End producer and stuff like that, I thought, he must be right, you know. Yeah. So I kind of, after that, I thought that I really got to have a sense of what I've done, what it is, and what I'm proud of in this. So, you know, because otherwise it just becomes way too personal.
That's great. No, I think that's great, because theater's such a vulnerable thing. I think anything, when you're working in it, that it is, because you're going up and you're saying, look at me, look what we're doing, and whether you're the writer, actor, director, it is very vulnerable, isn't it? Yeah, absolutely. And you've got to get behind your play, what you've done, and you know, and the actors are always so committed to it, because you can leave after the opening night, but the actors are going to do it for the next 4 weeks. I've done touring. You know, you can't go, God, sorry, actually it is a pile of shite, I'm not going to come and see it anymore. You know, so you've got to get behind the work and the commitment, and you know, and yeah, it is very vulnerable, but it's great, and that's what I love about the theatre, is that whole communal, you know, working towards that project that, you know, may or may not take off, but you're all deeply committed to. Well, that's kind of perfect then. Leading into my next question, which is, Stella, you obviously are also working in other areas. You write for television and stuff as well. So what keeps you coming back to the theatre? What excites you? What moves you about the theatre? I
think, well, it would sound funny to say that I love, you know, I prefer being in the theatre, working on it. You know, I love stage managers, sound designers, sound engineers, people who work backstage, a whole lot, and actors particularly, because they put the truth of your play together. And so I love making plays. I'm nearly 5'9". I don't particularly like sitting in the theatre. It's uncomfortable, you know, particularly in London. You're going to these Victorian theatres, it's like made for somebody like this 3 stone and, you know, 5'4". But no, so that's what but also those voices like Lynn Knott. Actually, there's a lot of brilliant stuff coming out of America recently. I mean, it used to be the Irish and the British writers were sort of like forging ahead with everything, but now American writers are doing a lot of really interesting stuff. So I'm really fascinated by the kind of work they're bringing out. I mean, Annie, you must remember, well, of course, Paul, because you've got that experience in, you know, America, but it was easier sort of in the noughties and the 90s for an American actor to get arrested rather than have their play put on.
Oh,
you know,
yeah. Oh, absolutely.
Like residencies, readings, awards, but nobody do their play, and particularly if it's political. And what's really fascinating is you've got these sort of like, you know, well, Lynn Nottage has been around for a while, but you know, you've got Annie Baker and Brandon Jacob Jenkins and all these sort of like fascinating, you know, new writers, and who are dealing with lots of things like race and politics and America. So yeah, so it's like, you know, being taken by surprise by the voices. It's just like that's what keeps me, you know, going back.
Definitely, I love that.
Yeah.
And sort of related to that, but maybe on the flip side, is like, is there anything from theater, from your theater life, any skill that you've learned or that you've, you know, worked on that you find is really applicable or that you use in the rest of your life?
I'm not sure about, I think just learning about collaboration is a big thing, because it's, you know, obviously you're a husband and wife team, so you've got to be able to collaborate, and obviously you know, but you're both quite easygoing people, so you know, but that's, and you've been making theatre together for a long time, so you found ways to work around each other. But for most people it's really hard, and so learning how to collaborate. I mean, when I did my first plays, I thought, well, you'll need to say it like this, and you need to move here, and you need to be like this, and it's just like not kind of realizing that, no, the whole thing of making a play is this is a collaborative effort. We work together. You know, you've done your bit. You know, now you let the actors come and bring their amazing lives, and you let the designer come and bring their take. So I think, you know, because, I mean, I'm writing another different medium. So I think just understanding that, you know, that it's okay to let people come and play, you know, that's the whole point of it. So I don't know whether that's applicable to life, but it's a big thing to learn about how to work in a kind of the creative, you know, medium. I mean, there are people that are brilliant and can direct and produce and act in their own plays, and that's them, you know, but for most of us, we've got to go, you know, be able to listen, take criticism or somebody else's ideas, even when they don't kind of align with our own. I don't know whether that's kind of, it's all, but it's, I'm saying it's not like I've got it down pat now, because you've got to learn, you know, it's always something you've got to learn, and there are people that you just don't get on with. I think that's learning, that you kind of go, there's no point, if you really are clashing with this person, sometimes it's actually okay to go, do you know what, it's actually not working. Is that okay that we just like don't do this anymore? So maybe that's the one thing that I've learned, instead of kind of coming home and crying every night and going, it's not working, it's terrible, we just don't get on, and blah blah blah. I just go, you know what, it's actually, we don't get on, it's not okay, you know. Sometimes that like makes things a bit easier, or sometimes it's the end. It's the end, and they were going to say it anyway.
I love it. That's good. That's great. And so just speaking of moving on from things, just as a bonus question, what are you working on at the moment, Stella?
Well, I've got one thing that's on out of all the things I was doing before COVID and during it. So I'm writing a lot for TV at the moment, but like everybody, God knows what's happening. I did a really fun project with the Irish National Opera, and they released a series of it's called 20 Shots, and it's 20 shots of opera, and lots of really fantastic people are working on it. I know that Marina Carr and Mark, the wonderful Mark O'Halloran, it's got a couple of operas on there. But Hannah Peel, who's this amazing Northern Irish composer, asked me to work with her. So it's on the Irish National Opera website, and it's called Close, and it's very short, it's 8 minutes out of your life. Tune in, but it's two women who have been Zoom dating and during lockdown, and as the restriction is eased, they meet in Stephen's Green for the first time to see each other. And it's like, you know, in COVID times, can you get close?
Yeah, cool.
Yeah,
Cool.
but if you don't know the music of Hannah Peel, oh my God, she's a total legend. I call her Dame Peel. She's amazing. So
Oh, brilliant.
That's great, and that's in an opera form.
yeah, two amazing opera singers, Rachel Croash and oh God, I can't remember the other girl's name. But yeah, they're absolutely fab. So it's like modern. They're in the main. I think all the operas are wonderful, actually, and you know. Not just saying that because I'm part of it, but they're all really different and weird and brilliant and, you know, moving. So yeah, Irish National Opera website, check it out.
Great, looking forward to checking it out. That sounds great. Well,
Thank
thank you so much for being with us. It's just such a joy to see you and get caught up and talk theater. We love it.
Absolutely.
So
yeah, feel all alive for like a second, doesn't it? It's just
exactly, yeah. makes you feel like we can put on a play tomorrow. Totally, we'll be fine.
yeah.
Soon
enough. Absolutely.
All right, fantastic.
Great.
Well, Stella, thanks so much.
Thank you.
And thank you to all of our viewers as well. It's so great to have you here at AboutFACE Theatre presents 5 Questions With. We look forward to seeing you next time.
If you've enjoyed this video, please subscribe to us on YouTube, like us on Facebook, and share. Thanks for watching.